Hi and welcome to my little cottage garden. Well, it's not a real cottage garden yet, but I'm definitely working on it. In this video you'll see the 1 year progress where it went from almost bare to at least a little bit more green. Gardening can be very overwhelming, so I did everything bit by bit using cuttings from our mother's garden and seeds to grow things in an organic and cheap way. A little introduction if you're new here. My name is IYKYK and I'm an artist and photographer that makes botanical prints. So as you can imagine, having a garden filled with flowers is really important to me. It still has a long way to go, so I'm open to ideas and advice, but for now, let's start from the beginning. So it all started exactly a year ago when I moved into this house. I had waited 12 years for this house, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it really isn't. It is a rental house. It is social housing, which means you have to be on a waiting list, and the lists are extremely high and long nowadays. So when I got this after 12 years, I was so happy, especially with the garden. The garden is quite large for a city garden, and when I viewed the house, the lilac tree was in bloom, and I just immediately fell in love. Before me, there lived an old man here who lived here with his whole family for like 45 years. And at one point he was too old to tend to the garden, and that's why everything is paved over. And as you might have deduced from the words rental and social housing, I do not have loads of money, so that is why I'm doing this on a budget. And that means for me mostly adding plants. My goal is to plant as many organic and native plants for wildlife, but also for me to enjoy. I really love the cottage gardens like from Monet's house, or like the English cottage gardens. I really love those. So I really want a romantic garden, but also one that's good for the environment and like the bees, the birds, the butterflies, and also one that will inspire my art. So when I moved, I began with, of course, taking care of the house, and the garden became a thing for later. And at this point I have removed around 70 tiles, and they are gone now, but there are still so many more that need to be removed. And I really want to get rid of those 80s flagstones, and that is something for later because it will be very expensive to replace them, and I don't think it's something I can do myself. And maybe it will never happen, I don't know. For now, I'm just really keen on removing the grey tiles that you'll see and just adding more and more plants. So last year I got myself lots of bulbs, lots of seeds, and slowly they've been popping up, which is very satisfying. And I also started a veggie patch, which is now slowly popping up. And honestly, I wanted to make this video at the end of summer when everything would be in full bloom, but it didn't really feel honest because then it would have been more than a year. For now, I'm just gonna stop the voiceover and show you the footage and some music and show you what I've done. So later in the video, I'll show you what my inspiration is and what I hope to be doing this summer for the garden and how I would love my garden to look like. And please, if you have any advice or tips or whatever ideas, let me know. But for now, enjoy the many plant footage. So I just realized that I started this video a year ago. Not a year ago, like 6 months ago in September. I realized it would be fun to film my garden because I just moved in here almost a year ago. The number one reason I fell in love with this house was the blooming lilac tree. So beautiful, and it had like a few rhododendrons. Do you say that in English as well? Rhodos. And the this is always a hard word for me. Hydrangea. We call them hortensias, but I think in English it's hydrangea. I don't know. I have no clue. So it's now March, and I think I also saw a video of myself planting the bulbs of lots of tulips and daffodils and all kinds of things. I think lilies as well, and alliums. Alliums? I don't know. The onions. And the tulips and daffodils are already going so strong, and it's been so much fun to see the difference in the last few weeks. Like the garden was completely barren, and now it's so green already, and it's just the end of March right now. Granted, we have had a very beautiful March. It was very warm. I even have to water the garden now. I just did it this morning because it's just too dry, and I really want to, you know, my bulbs to bloom. So I really needed to water it. It's beautiful. I've started seedlings. I have gone deep into the rabbit hole of gardening on YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is. All my algorithm is about right now is gardening. I kept one tomato plant alive last year, and that was so satisfying that I've just decided to do more this year. I went a little wild and planted way too much seeds, as I think every beginner does. Yeah. One exciting thing I'm gonna do this month is get rid of more tiles. Luckily, where the grey tiles are, there's just normal earth underneath, so I can just put plants in there, just use a little compost, and it will be fine. I'm gonna start like a little flower patch with cutting flowers as well, for me in my home, but also for the bees. I have of course way too many seeds. I try to buy as much organic seeds as I can, or bulbs, but they are quite expensive. So it's a little bit of a mix. I try to get mostly organic things. This weekend and the weekend after that, you can hand in a tile and get like 3 plants at the local nursery. I think, yeah, nursery, right? Nursery is such a weird word. So that's what I'm gonna do. They're not gonna be organic. But besides the back garden, I also have a little garden in the front of my house, which is also completely tiled over. So I need all the plants I can. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna start my veggie garden, my veggie patch. I've got a little greenhouse that's gonna be for my tomatoes. And I've got like 2 square meters that I'm just gonna put on top of the tiles, because the other tiles are very, very thick and heavy, and it's gonna be so much work to get rid of those. I think that's a little bit too overwhelming for me right now, so I'm just gonna do step by step by step. As I saw last year in September how much better the garden looked already, I have high hopes for this year. Even though I'm not gonna do a complete transformation, it is going to be so much better for the bees, for the butterflies, for the birds as well. And I am very excited about that. And I'm also thinking about making a mural on one of my walls. So I have some plans, but I lack a bit of motivation, I guess. So for the next few months, I'm gonna film bits and bobs of me gardening around and the results of the seeds, all the seedlings, and see what's left. I have the feeling I'm going to end up with like 30 tomato plants, but you know, they might just all die and I might just be left with just one. So yeah, let's see. I'm so curious to see the garden in like 6 months. It's gonna be so good. It's now the end of April and I am doing a bit of a garden update. My seedlings aren't going so well, and around a week ago, 2 weeks ago maybe even, I've transplanted them to a bigger pot because they were getting a lot of roots and I felt like maybe they might grow a little bit bigger. And it's still going so slowly. I don't understand. Maybe because they're all organic seeds, because I have one tomato plant that I got from my mom. I've got like the seeds and they were from a really cheap store. Definitely not organic, and like it blew up. Same with a cucumber plant, which is really big right now. This is my cucumber plant. I mean, I've sown these at the same time. So not sure what's wrong, but almost all my seeds are not doing well, or just not growing a lot. Like, they sprouted weeks ago and they're like 4 weeks old now, or older even, and still not doing great. I hope they will grow soon because I do really want tomatoes. Cosmos are doing okay. I hope they'll come up soon. I think I'm just also it's gonna be great weather this weekend and next week. So I feel like I'm gonna fill up one of those baskets again. Basket not the right word, but like the big square meter thingies, and just plant some things directly. I think maybe even courgettes. I know it's not even the half of May yet, which is when it's definitely for sure it's not gonna freeze again. But you know, I think I'm just gonna try it. I am a little bit sick of all these seedlings inside the house, and they are making a mess and not doing much. And I feel like outside are things coming up, like the beets and everything. I feel like they're doing better. So maybe I'll just need to move things outside. Gotta move a few things in the greenhouse, I think. Maybe this one. Okay. Well, that was quite a long video, and if you're still watching, well, thank you so much. This is how far I've come in a year with the garden. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, as you can see. The lilac tree is still brown and still falling down, the blossoms. And there are a lot of like flowers and weeds popping up from underneath the tiles and everything. I don't mind that. I am a pro wild gardener, I guess. I'm a lazy gardener, and I want things to be wild. I don't really care about a really neat and curated garden. Honestly, I do not care. So if you're into that, then please don't give me any advice. No, of course, it's always welcome. I talk a bit about the plans that I have for the garden this year. Like I said before, I would love to have new pavement. This one has been there since the 80s, I guess, and I would love to have something else that's a lot prettier, but that's not on the cards for now. I just want to add more plants. I have to say that we are currently, I am in the Netherlands, which is Western Europe, and we are in the middle of a drought, and we just had a weekend of rain, which was amazing. It was so good. But I'm decided to not really plant any new plants for now, because everything needs so much water. Some things even have died before because it just didn't get enough water, and yeah, that's a bit of waste of time, money and flowers. And also last year we had slugs, and now there is no rain, so no slugs, but lice. So I've just ordered ladybugs larvae, like babies, I guess, and they can attack the lice. But then the lice. And then I also need to like do something for the ants. I have a lot of ants in my garden, and they help the lice. And I feel like it's a never-ending cycle. So I'm just gonna use the ladybugs, and that's it. I'm not really going to intervene any more than that. So it was time for my plants this summer, and most likely also this autumn. What I really want to do, I really want to add a little pond. Is that how you call it? Like a really small one, just like for frogs or anything. And in the back of the garden, I've between the rhododendrons. Again, not sure how you call them in English. I have lots of empty space, and I think it would be perfect for a little pond, a little wildlife pond, like teeny tiny. And I want to make like some stairs for maybe a hedgehog, because my number one goal for this garden is to one day have a hedgehog in my garden. And here in the Netherlands we barely have any hedgehog. That's a difficult word. Here in the Netherlands we barely have a hedgehogs. Anyway, here in the Netherlands we barely have any hedgehogs anymore. They are all dying, which is very sad. Wildlife isn't doing great in the Netherlands, except for wolves. I don't have any wolves in my back garden, but you know. Hedgehogs are not doing well, and I really want one in my garden because I think they are so cute, and I have like such fond childhood memories from a little hedgehog in our garden. And I met my neighbor. She has a wild garden as well, and she said she never saw a hedgehog in her garden, even though it can enter through her little cat's cat door. It has never been into our garden. That makes me sad because I really want a hedgehog in my garden. So that's a big goal. More wildlife, so a little pond would be great. I've made some beautiful drawings in Procreate where you can see what my plan is, how it looks like now, and what I want it to look like. I want it to be so much more green, but also a bit more like flowy. How should I say it? Like not as straight and boxed up. I just don't really like all the square shapes in the garden. I really dislike it. Like I said before, I really want like an English cottage garden. One of my favorite accounts on Instagram is Dot Leaves, I think it's called. I think the person behind it has a different name. I sound something like Libby, but she has an amazing garden. It's slightly bigger than mine, but it is still quite similar, I think. And I just love it. And what I love about it is it has just a few small narrow paths, and they are wrapping around, I guess. I'm not sure how you call it. In the Dutch we say kronkelpaadje, I think. I'm not sure how you call it in English. And it has so many flowers. It is filled to the brim. And that's what I love. I love that. I don't really care about rules or anything. I just want to slap some plants in and make it wild and unruly and very dreamy, I guess. I've also been thinking about roses. I really don't like roses, but lately I've been thinking about like letting a rose climb onto my wall. I think that would look gorgeous. Very cottage garden. And I also need to have some plants against the shed and against the other white wall. I think that would look great as well. Not sure which one yet. Maybe like a clematis or something like that. And I really would like some more gravel instead of just tile. I really like the look of gravel as well. I really dislike grass, so I'm never gonna use grass. And I just don't like it. I don't care. I don't care at all about grass, and I think they're really hard to keep pretty as well. So no grass for me. Maybe a bit more gravel instead of just pavement. I think it will be better for water because, you know, climate change. It will always be like this. So it will, from now on, I think it will either be too dry, or we like have a drought, or it will just rain relentlessly. I feel like that's the seasons we are heading to, and it's scary to think about, but I also think it's important to make sure my garden is ready for either drought or lots of water, which is, I think, quite difficult to do, but it is something to keep in mind. I've got some great ideas, but you know, getting the money and the time to do everything is of course a work in progress. This is gonna take years, and I think I'm gonna make another video in about 3 months after summer and see how everything is really growing, because it's so green already, but everything's going to get bigger and bigger anyway. And I think you all want to know how many tomato plants have survived. I'm not sure yet how many will. And yeah, if you have any ideas what I can do with the garden on a budget, let me know. And thank you for watching.